What I'm about to share with you today could honestly be one of the most eye-opening messages you've ever heard. The kind that sparks real change and sets you on a path forward toward true financial freedom. Every single day, I get to chat with all sorts of amazing people in this space. Builders creating the future, traders navigating the markets, founders launching bold ideas, VCs spotting the next big thing, and even my own team pushing boundaries. But after reflecting on everything that's unfolded over the past year, the ups, the downs, the sheer craziness, it really struck me. There are still way too many folks in crypto who haven't even grabbed a single Satoshi. We're all out here chasing the latest moonshots and altcoins with massive potential. And don't get me wrong, I invest in those too. I'm right here in the trenches with you guys, loving the innovation. But somewhere along the way, in all that excitement, we've kind of forgotten the real reason this whole space even exists. The solid foundation that everything else stands on. People brush off Bitcoin as something old, slow, and just plain boring. But let me tell you, that couldn't be further from the truth. It's actually like punk rock in a world full of polished corporate jazz, raw, rebellious, and completely unstoppable. Today, I'm here to pull us all back to those roots, to remind us of what truly lasts in the long run. If you hang out with me for just a bit, this could genuinely shift how you see your future and even your family's legacy. It did that for me, and I know that it can do that for you. Because Bitcoin isn't just another currency, it's the internet of money, and a tool that's already empowering billions to break free from broken systems. You know, most people don't stumble onto Bitcoin right off the bat. A lot of people show up into the space for the excitement, the casino-like rush, with endless projects promising that big escape. If you just go all in and bet bold. I'm sure you've all heard these wild stories, or maybe even you know someone who nailed it, 100x return and showed it off everywhere online. And in that moment, you think to yourself, okay, next time that's gonna be me. But then, sooner or later, the harsh reality hits. You get rugged on a project, dumped on by whales, are left holding nothing but dust. Suddenly, that fun casino doesn't feel so thrilling anymore. That's the moment when things start to shift inside of you. You begin asking those tough questions that nobody really wants to face. Why does it all feel like you can lose everything in a blink? Well, actually building lasting wealth seems almost impossible. Why do these cycles keep repeating themselves, just with new names and tickers every single time? Well, the truth is, the game's been rigged from the very start. Rigged by the money printers and the insiders who control it all. But that's when you turn your eyes to Bitcoin. At first glance, it might have seemed boring or outdated. But after enough time getting burned in the shitcoin casino, you start to see it clearly. It's not boring at all. It's a life raft in the middle of a raging storm. The one thing in this entire space that's designed to outlast all scams, the chaos, and the inevitable collapses. Bitcoin isn't about striking it rich overnight. It's about saying no to staying poor in a system that's built to keep you that way. It's about claiming your sovereignty, owning your own future without needing anyone's permission. Just think about the unbanked folks in remote villages who can now send value across the world in an instant, safely and freely. That kind of conviction, once you have it, it's unbreakable. We've all been born into this deep-seated lie, and it's so woven into everyday life that it just feels normal. No matter where you are, from Chicago to Lagos, Buenos Aires, and beyond. It's the same old script handed down for generations. Go to school, get those good grades, land a steady job, work your butt off, pay your taxes, and save whatever you can. If you're lucky, they say you'll get ahead. But here's the thing. Every year, that treadmill you're on just speeds up. Rents keep climbing higher, groceries cost more than ever, medical bills pile up like crazy. And despite all that, if you do everything right, you're still somehow stuck or falling behind. Wages barely budge, opportunities seem to shrink. And that finish line, it just keeps getting pushed further away. Since 2000, median rents in the US have more than tripled, while average wages have just risen less than double. The same goes for essentials like groceries, healthcare, and tuition. They all outpace your paycheck year after year. And when you question it, what do you hear? That's just how the economy works. Or be grateful you even have a job. But deep down, you know it's not just bad luck or coincidence. The system's designed to keep you right where you are. Wealth gets funneled from the many to the few, and somehow they convince you that you're free, while actually you're trapped in a game you never signed up for. They'll tell you, though, inflation is natural. The experts have it under control, and hard work will put you through. But take a look around. The middle class is vanishing. Home ownership feels like a distant dream, and retirement, well, that's turning into a total joke. Just think about how much the goalposts have moved. 50 years ago, the average American could retire comfortably with the equivalent of around $200,000 in today's dollars. 20 years ago, that jumped to about $800,000. And now, surveys show people feel they need at least $1.5 million or more just to stop working. And even that might not cut it in a high-cost area. That's not what you'd call progress. It's more like theft happening in slow motion. Every so-called financial solution, like piling on student debt or relying on more credit, just adds another chain holding you back. When the money systems are broken, everything else breaks too. Education, healthcare, housing, even democracy itself. You don't really own your money. You're just renting it. And the rules can change on a whim. That's the lie we've all been born into. But once you see it for what it is, there's no going back. And thankfully, there's a way out. A protocol that hands the power right back to you. You've probably heard it your whole life. The economy just goes through rough patches. Inflation, some kind of glitch. And inequality, oh, that's just an unfortunate mistake. Things will get back to normal soon, they promise. But every year, the stuff that used to be affordable slips further out of reach. If you look closer, since 2020, global central banks have pumped out $25 trillion in new currency, driving consumer prices up the fastest in 40 years. Homes, land, healthcare, those real essentials keep getting priced out for most people. And now, the richest 1% hold about 45% of all global wealth. It's insane. This isn't a bug in the system. It's the feature. It's built to extract value from everyone else and keep the deck stacked for the ultra elite. Inflation sneaks in and drains your savings bit by bit, while the money machine runs nonstop at your expense. Central banks print away, picking winners along the way, and you're left with the bill. They borrow at rock-bottom rates and snap up assets, while you pay sky-high interest on things that keep losing value. They ride the booms, you endure the bust, and when it all crashes down, they get bailouts, and you get stuck covering the costs. All those banks from 2008, guess who paid that bill? If you ever wonder how this rigged game keeps going, just listen to what El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele has to say about it.
Someone could ask, well, so if the government can print unlimited amounts of money out of thin air, why do they collect taxes? I mean, in theory, it would make sense, right? If they can print unlimited amounts of money, why would they need taxes for? The answer is simple, but it's very shocking. The real problem is that you pay high taxes only to uphold the illusion that you are funding the government, which you are not. It's shocking, but it's true. The government is funded by money printing, paper backed with paper, a bubble that will inevitably burst. The situation is even worse than it seems, because if most Americans and the rest of the world were to become aware of this farce, confidence in your currency would be lost, the dollar would fall, and the Western civilization with it.
It's not really about your taxes. It's about control. The more they print, the more you end up paying, one way or another. Every crisis, every crash, every so-called emergency just becomes another ladder for them to climb and another leash for the rest of us. This is basically feudalism dressed up in a modern suit. So I have to ask, how much longer are you willing to keep playing a game that was never designed for you to win? Imagine what it would feel like to opt out entirely and start building wealth that no one can touch or devalue. Bitcoin, it's all about breaking free from that endless cycle where you work hard, save what you can, trust the banks, and still end up feeling trapped. Gold used to be seen as the ultimate escape, but it always came down to trusting vaults, banks, and middlemen, with someone else holding the keys and charging you fees along the way. Then Bitcoin came along and changed everything. No vaults needed, no banks, no middlemen, no intermediaries at all. It's just you and your private key, powered by pure code and open rules that anyone can verify. For the first time in history, money truly belongs to you, to me, to everyone, equally. Value moves like information on the internet, fast, borderless, and impossible to fake. You don't need permission from anyone. Just download a wallet, jot down those 12 words, and you're in control. No one can freeze your account, seize your savings, or rewrite the rules on you overnight. This isn't some far-off dream. It's happening right now. Take Nigeria, where the Naira has lost more than 70% of its value since 2020. No wonder the country's ranked number 2 worldwide in terms of Bitcoin adoption. Or in Lebanon, where the pound has collapsed over 98%, wiping out people's life savings in a flash. Even in the US and Europe, bank failures in 2023 and 2024 erased hundreds of billions in deposits practically overnight. In moments like those, Bitcoin becomes a real lifeline. Think about the billions who are unbanked or underbanked. Over 1.5 billion adults without even basic accounts, and up to 4 billion more with limited real access to financial services. Bitcoin opens doors for them that were never there before. Today, around 7% of adults worldwide, about 1 in 14, own or use crypto. And with every new wallet, the network gets stronger and more resilient. Each block added to the chain is like etching truth into unbreakable code. Every transaction is a quiet act of protest, a step toward genuine independence. The network runs on math and proof, not promises. You own what you earn, and you keep what you build. This isn't just about money anymore. It's a full-on movement, giving anyone, anywhere, the chance to step off the rat race and claim their own freedom. The window's still open wide for all of us to join. There's a quiet revolution unfolding right now, and a lot of people never saw it coming. Not too long ago, the idea of a Bitcoin presidential candidate was just a punchline. But fast forward to today, and world leaders from the White House in America to the Blue House in South Korea are campaigning in orange, one election after another. In South Korea's recent 2025 election, every major candidate ran on a pro-Bitcoin platform, driven by massive demand from the next. How do we know that demand is real? Well, about 27% of people in their 20s to 50s hold crypto, with high interest in expanding their holdings. And in Argentina, where inflation peaked at 289% in 2024, voters chose a president who straight up called central banking a scam and encouraged people to opt out with Bitcoin. And in El Salvador, Bitcoin became legal tender back in 2021, leading to over 4 million digital wallets opened for folks who were previously unbanked. And here in America, big players are chasing that orange vote with executive orders, ETFs, and even national reserves. Polls from 2024 showed around 20% of registered voters own crypto, with about 30% of those under 35 getting in on it. Just imagine what happens when those numbers hit 50% or more, as Vice President Vance recently predicted. Bitcoin is already shaping decisions at the highest levels. Today, leaders overseeing economies with a combined GDP of over $30 trillion are keeping Bitcoin front and center on their agendas. People are waking up to this. Real power now lives in your wallet, your ballot, and your voice. Quotes from Satoshi are showing up in campaign speeches, giving them extra weight. Bitcoin is setting the global agenda. Picture a world where orange-pilled presidents become the new normal. That's the world we're living in. Countries are finally listening to a digital-first generation, and people like you and me are the ones deciding who leads next. This is how a revolution goes mainstream, one step at a time. If you're watching this, you're already way ahead of the curve. Real change kicks off every time someone picks Bitcoin over those empty promises. It starts with one person, one wallet, one vote for freedom. And right now, Bitcoin is rewriting the rules of money for everyone, everywhere. Let's talk about gold for a second. Gold has been around for centuries, millennia, in fact, building empires and shielding people from tyranny along the way. It kept money honest for a very long time, until the custody part broke the whole deal. Once vaults and banks took over, most owners were left holding paper receipts instead of actual metal, and the real gold stayed locked away out of reach. Trust became the weak link, and when that trust failed, control slipped away. Central banks stepped in, gold-backed money turned into fiat paper, and since then, that paper, like the USD, has lost around 87% of its purchasing power since 1971. That's how nations and families lost their shot at true economic freedom. Bitcoin flips the script on all of that. There are no vaults or banks standing in your way, just you and your private key. It has all the qualities gold was meant to have: scarce, portable, and borderless. You don't believe me? Well, try walking through an airport next time with a bunch of gold bars and see what happens. Just kidding, don't do that. You probably already know. But with Bitcoin, you can split it into 100 million tiny pieces, send it anywhere in the world, and know it'll arrive in minutes, 24/7, every day of the year. Every transaction settles instantly through code. And the best part? Bitcoin is programmable. You can build on it, automate it, and verify everything without even asking for permission. The rules are out in the open for anyone to check. The vault is everywhere and nowhere all at the same time. Proof takes the place of trust, and control is finally back where it belongs, in your hands. This isn't just an upgrade. It's a revolution wrapped in an evolution of value itself. But Kyle, isn't Bitcoin a bubble? The skeptics and the naysayers like Peter Schiff have been calling Bitcoin a bubble since it was worth just $1. They laughed at $1, scoffed at 100, panicked at 1,000, ridiculed it at 10,000, and labeled it pure mania at 60,000. Always waiting for that big pop. And where are we now? Bitcoin just crossed $118,000, and those same voices are still sitting there predicting the end. Every time Bitcoin crashes or swings wildly, the experts line up to celebrate, patting themselves on the back and writing yet another Bitcoin obituary, saying, "See, I told you so." But what they miss is that those crashes, those booms and busts, only make Bitcoin stronger in the end. They shift the coins from casual holders to the true believers, the freedom-loving evangelists who get it. Real bubbles pop and fade away. I saw someone recently compare Bitcoin to the tulip craze. Crazy. Ponzi schemes vanish into thin air. Scams don't inspire global revolutions or settle billions in value every day. What really stands out about Bitcoin is how it exposes the fraud and decay at the core of the old money system. The pattern keeps repeating. Critics mock it, then they fight it, then they try to imitate it, and finally, they join in or scramble to try to take control. An idea with this much raw energy doesn't just disappear. Bitcoin keeps building block by block, while the doubters watch from the sidelines. Every new wave teaches the same lesson. Either you're early to this, or you're left with regrets. This moment we're in is only the beginning of something much, much bigger. I first got into Bitcoin back in 2012. It wasn't because someone hyped it up as the next big thing or a way to get rich. Though, like all of us, I definitely had those dreams in mind. But you can't build real, lasting conviction on greed alone. And if you've been around the space long enough, you will have met plenty of people like I have that at one point in time had thousands or tens of thousands of Bitcoin, but they had that greed in their eyes and they traded it. Short-term sighted. They didn't have real conviction, and they are kicking themselves today like you would not believe. What drew me in was seeing firsthand what the system does to honest, hardworking people. It chews them up, calls it progress, and leaves them running in circles forever. I've watched families pour in more effort every year only to slip further behind. I've seen currencies crumble, futures get erased, and the people in charge never face any real accountability. When I discovered Bitcoin, I didn't just see a price chart ticking up. I saw a real way out, a foundation so strong that it couldn't be stolen by inflation or wiped away by some decision maker I'd never meet. Bitcoin keeps running, no matter who believes in it or doubts it. There's no CEO to throw in jail, no central switch to flip off, no campaign that can shut it down. It's a protocol that's alive everywhere and nowhere all at once. It doesn't promise you easy riches or total comfort. The real promise is sovereignty, the power to own your time, your work, and your future outright. Over the years, I've seen so many chase the hype and then burn out or fade away. But I stuck around because Bitcoin doesn't just create millionaires, it creates sovereign individuals, people who opt out of the broken system, build something new outside of it, and never have to ask for permission again. You don't even need blind faith to be part of this movement. What you need is understanding, that deep conviction to hold on when everyone else is selling, and to keep building when the crowd is full of doubt. The window's still open for now, but it won't stay that way forever. One day, someone you care about will ask where you stood when the world finally started waking up to this. For me, I chose truth over comfort. I stood on principle. I participated. And now it's your turn to decide. Before you guys click away or move on, just pause for a second and ask yourself, why are you really here watching this? Is it just for the pumps and the hype? Or is there something deeper that keeps you coming back? And let me ask you straight up, do you actually hold any Bitcoin? If not, what's holding you back? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, guys. I make a point to read every single one of them, and this I'm genuinely interested in. Do you have any Satoshis? Do you have any Bitcoin? Just to be clear, as a VC, I spend most of my time investing in altcoins, meeting with new founders and developers, and chasing those cutting edge ideas. That's what gets me fired up about this space. The constant innovation, the incredible people, and the future we're all building together right now. And if you know me well, you know that I'm even building a few of my own projects. But no matter what exciting project I come across, Bitcoin remains the unshakable foundation. When it's time to lock in profits, I don't cash out to dollars. I move it to what I believe will be the bedrock for generations ahead. If you enjoyed this episode, guys, do me a favor, hit that like button and share it with someone who could use a good orange pilling. And if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard, guys. I know that there's been a lot of you subscribing recently, and it's great to have you guys here. I do my best to bring you top-notch daily alpha and keep you guys ahead of the pack. Have an awesome rest of your day wherever you guys are. Remember, stay sharp, keep stacking those sats, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.